Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience? Or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
Oh, yes. Good evening to everyone across the United States and also around the world. It is time once again for another fun-filled, thrill-packed, and guaranteed always exciting edition of the Friday Evening Fireside Chat here on the New Thought Media Network. Pastor Michael Mangus, broadcasting this evening from the super secret radio room surrounded by thousands, and I mean thousands of watts, in the secure concrete bunker somewhere around Akron, Ohio, that is so top secret that only one person, and that is my producer, Diego Reyes, only he knows where the super secret concrete bunker is located. Now, Reverend Robert Brzezinski, our chief inspirational officer here at the New Thought Media Network, he thinks he knows where it's located, but he has no clue on where the super secret radio room is located within the concrete bunker. Good to see everyone this evening. And we do have a wonderful show. We are taping on June 30th, and this will be replayed on July 1st. Again, please feel free to interact with us by posting your comments on Facebook and in StreamYard. And for all my shy people out there, I know you're out there. All my shy people, you can email me, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. I read your letters during the week and really appreciate hearing from you. So the purpose of our get-togethers on Friday is for us to get real, to have a heart-to-heart talk about what is going on in the world from a new thought/spiritual perspective. And as I keep saying over and over again, I want us all to have a new thought about what is going on in the world and also think about our oneness. We talk about oneness at our New Thought Centers each and every week. So if we're all one, then what is our role in bringing about a world that works for everyone? Well, our guest this evening, waiting in the wings in our green room, all the way from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We are pleased to have on our show this evening the host of The Joy Show, which is the Reverend Barbara Schreiner-Trudel. Reverend B, as she is lovingly known as, is the founder of the Center, spelled C-E-N-T-R-E, not C-E-N-T-E-R, but C-E-N-T-R-E, for Spiritual Living on the Lake, which is a thriving online community. Reverend Barbara's show is at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Fridays here on the New Thought Media Network. And her service is also broadcast on Monday evenings at 7 p.m. Reverend Barbara will be our special guest during the second half of the program. So again, as I said before, we're recording this again on June 30th. And I always remember as a little Mikey, I would enjoy my first few weeks of vacation. And then when July 4th hit, the summer was over for me. The countdown to go back to school in September began. Now the stores are starting to stock back to school supplies in the middle of July. And guess what? Our CSL teens are at camp this week. Camp Coral Ridge, which is the new camp for the Centers for Spiritual Living, will be hosting Youth Week. To all the teens, have a great week. Listen, could you do me a big favor? One of our hosts, Reverend Gil Olmsted, he's taking 8 teenagers up to camp. I'm going to ask a favor, please. Be nice to him. So if you have teens, please, if you have the opportunity, please send them to a New Thought camp this summer. YOU, or Youth of Unity, also has a wonderful program to send your young people away. Again, that concentrated effort for the week, again, focusing on changing your thinking, changing your life is a wonderful way to have our kids get ready for the next school year. All right, so let's take our weekly look at the news here. Today, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson was sworn in as a Supreme Court Justice today at noon here in the United States, making history as the first female African-American justice and beginning what could be a decades-long tenure. But as she starts her job, the Supreme Court here in the United States is in turmoil. The justices work to maintain civility in public, but this term's opinions revealed an underbelly of rage. Not only were the justices attacking the reasoning of their opponents in the case at hand, but they also renewed grievances aired in previous opinions. The Supreme Court today will issue final opinions and orders as 2 big cases await the resolution concerning the environment and immigration. Well, I can tell you what happened in the environment. The Supreme Court has said, EPA, you can't put judgments on these corporations. You can't keep them from polluting the atmosphere. In the immigration department, they're saying that the President Biden does have authority to work with the government to make sure that there is a flow of immigrants in an orderly fashion into our country. So new challenges related to women's reproductive health and the Second Amendment and even same-sex marriages are also likely to swirl in state and federal courts around the U.S. here in the near future. Also in the news, the majorities disapprove of Roe v. Wade reversal, and Democrats are motivated, the polls show. From CNN, multiple polls conducted since the Supreme Court ruling overturning Roe v. Wade finds that a broad majority of the public disapproves and suggests that the immediate aftermath of the ruling, the decision could be more motivational for Democrats than Republicans. In a new Monmouth University survey released on Tuesday, 60% of the United States adults disapproved of the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which with just 37% approving. There's also a significant intensity gap. 53% of Americans strongly disapprove of the ruling, including 84% of the Democrats, compared with 29% who strongly approve, including 58% of the Republicans. So now the battle begins here. On not allowing women to travel out of state or to access abortion pills prescriptions. Several local prosecutors in major cities have said that they will not prosecute women for going out of state for an abortion or taking abortion pills also prescribed out of state. Now, like I said last week, we've been having demonstration after demonstration here in the United States and also some other parts of the world. However, that is not going to change things. What will change will be when individuals vote to elect pro-choice candidates in both the local, state, and federal levels. Elections have consequences. I told that to some young people here right before the 2020 election. They said, well, it's our right not to vote. All right. I'm not going to argue with you. But elections have consequences. What will change the direction here of our country concerning Roe v. Wade is the election of pro-choice legislators. That's the same thing with the gun issue. Things and issues in this country change as we elect politicians who support choice and gun reform. Now, I do not mention parties, nor do I endorse specific candidates on this platform or any other platform where I am a spiritual leader. So if you are angry, if you are upset about what happened last week, a week ago today, or a week ago tomorrow, which is today, which is July 1st, then truly get out the vote and elect candidates that are pro-life and not just pro-birth. As for me, my next car, I was telling Reverend B earlier that my next car may be a passenger van to take women over to Pennsylvania and also New York State for health care. And this ruling, again, does not impact those who can get on a plane or travel easily in their car to get an abortion. And again, this week, many lawsuits were filed to block abortion laws in individual states, including Ohio. The women in our area of northeastern Ohio are within a couple hours of drive time to Pennsylvania and also New York. And also Jewish organizations have also filed suit claiming a violation of religious rights. In the Jewish tradition, abortion is allowed, especially if it will save the mother's life. And again, I'm really supporting everyone here. Channel your anger, channel your rage, not towards vandalizing anti-abortion churches like the Catholic Church, but again, towards voting in pro-choice candidates. And we on the Conscious Spiritual Path pray not only for peace, but also work for justice. Also in the news this week, After the deadliest school massacre in almost a decade, the governors of Texas and Iowa this week announced a commitment of at least $100 million each to try to help prevent similar tragedies. It was last month in Texas where an 18-year-old gunman opened fire with an AR-15 style rifle at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, killing 19 children and 2 teachers. The funding in Texas will be allocated towards school safety and mental health initiatives, including money for bullet-resistant shields and also for school districts to buy silent panic alert technology. In Iowa, the funding will be used to increase staffing of special agents, criminal intelligence analysts, and also communication specialists dedicated to school safety. And this comes after the school shootings in the U.S. reached a 20-year high in 2021. It's really interesting to me that the initiatives do not limit the sales of AR-15 type assault rifles, especially to 18-year-old children. Interesting that during the 2021 school year, there were, get this, 93 school shootings in the United States, a high not seen in 20 years, according to national data. Of those 93 shootings, 43 resulted in fatalities, while 50 saw injuries, according to a 30-page report. The governmental agency defines a school year as from July 1st, 2020 to June 3rd, 2021. The data also showed that there was an additional 53 school shootings reported with no casualties in that time span. The gun reform bill that was passed last week in the Senate is a start. However, it's not enough. We all must not only pray for change, we must also hold our legislators accountable by voting out of office those who do not want change in the current gun laws. Are we going to have to send our kids back to school with bulletproof backpacks and shields? Our church for many years has packed backpacks full of school supplies. The argument from the gun advocates is that, oh, it's not the guns that cause the massacres, it's the people. And again, like other countries who have banned assault-type weapons, when the mentally ill want to shoot up a school or a church, they can't because they can't get an automatic weapon. And also this, I mentioned this last week. When are we going to have a serious conversation within New Thought centers about security? And once again this week, I'm calling for a serious discussion on security at our centers. We have Jewish rabbis now who are getting active shooter training that has saved lives because they were trained to do so. And I'm not saying this to be afraid. I'm saying this for all of us to be aware and to be prepared. And finally here, we have news from the Ukraine. NATO formally invited Sweden and Finland to join in its alliance on Wednesday, a historic expansion of the defense bloc that directly undercuts Russian President Vladimir Putin's aim as his war in the Ukraine grinds on. Putin issued a fresh warning over the country's bid to join NATO saying that while Russia would not be bothered by the two countries joining the bloc, it would respond symmetrically to any military or infrastructure buildup. Interesting. Separately, Putin on Wednesday denied that Moscow was behind a strike on a shopping center in the Ukraine that killed at least 18 people, with dozens missing and wounded. The Russian army does not attack any civilian sites, he claimed. The Russian Defense Ministry previously said it hit military targets, but the video from the city in the Ukraine shows the mall being obliterated by a missile. Again, we in CSL continue to hold the high watch to know peace. And again, we have a group of individuals, of ministers and practitioners from this country who keep in constant contact with our centers and also with our practitioners and members also over in the Ukraine. It's 7:20. Reverend Barbara told me that she's acting as Diego this evening, and that if I go much over 20 minutes, that she was going to pull the broadcast. Well, hi there. Good evening. It's the Friday evening fireside chat here on the New Thought Media Network. Pastor Michael Mangus with you. Good to have you aboard. Here in the next few moments here, we are going to have all the way from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and also to wish her a happy Canada Day tomorrow, the leader of the Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, which is the Reverend Barbara Schreiner-Trudel. She will be with us here in just a few moments. But first, let's have a few announcements here, and then we'll take a break and then come back. So yours truly is currently parking himself at Summit CSL. For more information, please go to summitcsl.org there. And only there you will find information about our wonderful Sunday gathering online at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific time. Listen, all my California friends, I know that's early, okay? But I'm telling you it's worth it. Have us be your first service for the day. So grab your cup of coffee, your tea, your espresso, your chai, your boba tea, and please join us. I do believe that we do have one of the best services in New Thought because we have a balance of music, a balance of meditation, and a balance of message. And this Sunday, we'll have our spiritual director, practitioner Diana Mangus. She'll be speaking on spiritual freedom. So go to summitcsl.org for more information on how to join our Zoom call. Also, our service is also simulcast on the Summit Spiritual Center of Akron Facebook page, and also our Facebook page also has past broadcasts of the Fireside Chat and yours truly when he's praying on the New Thought Media Network, including last night. We're taping on Thursday here. Okay. And then tonight I have to do prayer because tomorrow I'm doing a wedding. Listen, we have some great news here. We will be having my graduation ceremony from Holmes Institute broadcast live from the INTA convention in Chicago. That'll be on July 21st. Isn't that wonderful? So you'll see some wonderful people that you will know, not only from CSL, but also from the New Thought movement. So we will be giving you more information. But I want to thank Reverend Robert Brzezinski for putting this together. Robert has been nothing but kind here. When he found out that Holmes Institute was not going to give me a graduation, that he got in contact with a few people and they helped arrange this with Reverend Tim Stewart and also INTA. So we just want to thank them so very, very much. So you get to join me. You get to celebrate here on July 21st. If I started to tell you all the stuff that's going on here at the New Thought Media Network, we would be here past midnight. I'm not going to do that. Isn't that nice of me? But I am going to suggest that you go to our website, ntmedia.org/donate. As I was talking to Reverend Barbara, we are really making a difference in the world. Our programs are absolutely wonderful during the week. You get to pray 2 times a day. You get new thought leaders from around the world on this network. You get teaching from various perspectives. And again, this is all to help awaken your magnificence. So we ask for your support here. Join us in this vision to take this powerful message to the whole world. Partner with us. So go to ntmedia.org/donate. There, that will take you to the page where you can give a very generous one-time gift, or you can do like I do, and that is give a monthly donation. See, with that sustaining donation, what that does is that gives us an amount of money that we can depend upon, that we can go ahead and use for salaries. We can use for bandwidth. We can use for equipment. So our monthly partners really help us, again, by joining the vision of a world that does work for everyone. And I do believe that this network is helping to bring that about. So go to ntmedia.org/donate. Thank you so very much. Okay. Time for a break. And then we'll be back with Reverend Barbara. This is the Friday evening fireside chat here on your New Thought Media Network.
opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right. However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
I thought I would play the disclaimer tonight. Our guest tonight, all the way from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, is the host of The Joy Show. She is the Reverend Barbara Schreiner-Trudel. Reverend B, as she's lovingly known as, is the spiritual director and founder of the Center, spelled CENTRE, for Spiritual Living on the Lake, which is a thriving online community. Reverend Barbara's show is on at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Fridays here on the New Thought Media Network. And her service is also broadcast Monday evenings at 7 p.m. Reverend Barbara is coming to us this evening all the way from Toronto. And good to see you finally. We had a little mix-up a couple of weeks ago, didn't we?
Yes, I was supposed to be on your show, and I fell asleep. And I missed it.
Oh, okay.
I completely forgot.
Well, now hold it. You were traveling. There she is. Is that for Canada Day? Okay.
Plus, I'm from Calgary, and
okay.
Originally, and Calgary is kind of cowtown. So
yes.
Anyway, that's my
good.
I didn't see a Canadian flag on that global services announcement for Geneva, Switzerland. So.
I did not see that. You're going to have to tell Diego.
There is no Canadian flag there.
There's no Canadian flag, Diego. We're going to have to put that in our, we use a communications platform called Mattermost. So we'll have to put that in Mattermost. And it's like Diego has enough to do.
And he does it well. I give him
credit.
He does a good job. He does a very good job.
So
I'm really excited to be here. So thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's so wonderful to have someone again who is taking the message here to the world. And so tell me, how did a nice woman like you get involved in New Thought?
Well, it's interesting because I had a spiritual epiphany when I was 27 years old that flipped my life upside down. But I was in a traditional Christian church at the time. And I was there for about a year and a half, and I couldn't reconcile the message that they had that everybody's going to hell except them with the experience I had of this divine presence that was love. And so it wasn't fitting. There was an incongruence there. And I left there not knowing where to go or what to do because I was, needing my spiritual food. And a friend told me about the Centers for Spiritual Living. Actually, at the time, it was the Center for Positive Living in Calgary. And the first time I went there, I walked in the door and it was like love. I just felt the energy of love. And it was so, so remarkable. Now, at the time, I was in a really bad marriage and wasn't able to go regularly because he didn't like the idea of me getting too smart or too independent or whatever. So it took me a few years before I actually became a full-time member. But when I did, I immediately started taking classes. And on my very first day of Science of Mind 100, which is what it was called at the time, I just told the minister, Reverend Carol Carnes, I said, I'm going to be a minister. And she went, yeah, right. She'd heard it many times.
That is so affirming.
Yeah. I think she just heard it so often and nobody was out doing it. And she said, well, if you do, you're going to have to go start a church yourself because nobody's going to hire you right out of school. So I proved her wrong in a few fronts. Number one, I did become a minister. Number two, I was hired by the Okanagan Center for Positive Living, which is in Vernon, BC, here in Canada, and worked there for a year and a half before I moved here to Toronto to start my first CSL Toronto, which I served at for 11 years. I've been a minister for 23 years now. And so I left there in 2011 when my dad died. I just didn't have the bandwidth to continue what was going on. And over the last well, I guess 11 years I've been with the Universal Foundation for Better Living here in Toronto, and also Unity. So I'm ordained in both CSL and Unity. So I've got that double ordination. And recently, last summer, I get a phone call from Reverend Barbara Bew.
Who is that? Barbara Bew is one of our team leaders, and also
Team leaders, yes.
Yes, she is one of the head ladies at the at home office. Go ahead.
Yeah, so she had sent me an email saying, I'd like to talk about the possibility, because CSL Toronto was closed by the current minister in February of 2020, I guess, just before the pandemic hit. And so there is no CSL here. So she had said, I just want to have a conversation with you. She'd sent me this email. I think maybe Toronto's, a great place for another CSL church. And so I'm like, okay, sounds great. Yeah, I'll talk to you about it. Because of course, Toronto, biggest city in Canada. Of course, it's ripe for Science Mind. And so I turn around, and her and I are having this conversation a couple of days later. And she said, she had somebody in mind that she thought would be able to do this. And then she said, okay, I got to come clean. She said, you're the person I had in mind. At the time, I was serving two churches. I was with Verity Center for Better Living, which is a UFBL church. And I was with Unity Church of Agape, which is a Unity church, and working both of them full time. So it was like my life was church. But interestingly enough, I said, well, let me sit with it. And so I put my toe in the water, and it's a little bit like Moses parting the Red Sea. Everything just fell into place like lickety split. I had everything, all of the government documents were completed by the beginning of October. And I was affiliated. What's my affiliation date? November 10th is when they had granted me my affiliation. And our first service was January 4th. And, it was interesting to watch how everything just like this, it was so easy. It was like a hot knife through butter. And I thought, well, it's got to be right if it's moving that easily, because that was my mandate. It's going to be easier. I'm not doing it. I'm past that point of, living life in resistance. I've learned over my 30 years in this teaching that I have a choice. I can do things hard, or I can do them easy. And easy is way more fun. So I've opted for easy. And that doesn't mean I don't work hard, because I have a little problem with balance, but I'm working on it. But for me, sharing this message is the most important thing I do. And it's not a choice. It's something I must do to satisfy my soul. And so I feel really strong about everything I do comes back to this. Yes. And I love this teaching so much. When I open up the Science of Mind, it's like candy for the soul. Like I just get delighted as soon as it doesn't matter what page I open, I just immediately feel this rush of delight. And when I met Reverend Robert through this online thing, I was like, well, I want to do a show on there. And so the show I do is the Joy Show. And joy is an acronym, just one U. And so every show I do is about bringing a person on and sharing their story of living their authentic purpose, their real life purpose, and standing in it, whatever it looks like. And last week, because it was Pride weekend, I had a transgender man on who is just such a loving, glorious being, and sharing his story of what it was like with his family and his journey coming to that place of going, this is who I am. And he had always known it. Like people when he was talking about when he was 8 years old, he said, people would say, oh, I want to be a doctor. I want to be this. He goes, I'm going to be a man. And it was like, he was really, really clear. And yes. I think, what I love about my show is that I get to introduce the principles that every single one of us is created in the image and of the likeness of this divine creator. And as soon as we can accept that for ourselves, because nobody's going to do it for us. But when we accept it for ourselves, then we can shine. And that's when we become a light in the world, kind of like you are with the things that you're doing here.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Your prayers, and they really touch my heart. And not everybody's prayers reach that way, but yours are very, very true to spirit, and they reach me and touch me, and I'm grateful. Anytime I hear them, I'm always very, very grateful. Yeah.
Thank you so very, very much. That's very nice to hear. But again, it amazes me though, like even during prayer time, is that the people around the world that tune into us.
Yes.
And also that Laura Topper also has it's 3:30 in the morning for us, 3:15 for you and I, but it's 8:15 over in the UK and also in Africa.
Wow.
And
next weekend.
What now?
Laura's going to be on my show next Friday, the 8th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, really excited. Really excited. Yes.
Just be nice to her, okay?
Oh, could I be anything else?
No. I'm just saying, no, Laura is a real shining light. And, as I explained to her, she was a little shy about getting the Global Services Award this year.
Aww.
And as I explained to her, I said, Laura, I said, you not only got it for all of your hard work, but you got it for our network.
Yes.
Well, that was the first time that we were acknowledged from the stage at a CSL conference. So you won that for all of us. So again, it amazes me. I've always had this, people say, well, what do you want to do in ministry? And I said, well, I'm committed to local communities, and that I'm also committed to taking this message to the world.
Absolutely.
And that we have not done that very well in the past. There have been ministers who have tried, including Dr. Ernest Holmes. He tried to do his very best. But, again, that we have not, we have the technology now from our homes.
Absolutely.
I don't have to go to a studio. I don't have to go to a transmitter site. I can just go ahead and just, plug in here as long as I have power.
Yes, that's the key.
Did you hear what happened last week? Okay, so I'm about ready to go on and produce the Miracle of Prosperity show. If you have not seen Jim Webb's show yet, oh my! Wasn't Ayanna Van Zandt?
Oh, it was great. It was a great show. Yes, I watched it yesterday.
Yeah, so 10 minutes before my power went out. So when my power goes out, that means that all my screens go dark. I have no internet access. I'm sorry. I was trying to get you out of the shot for a minute. Okay, there you go. And you okay?
I just swallowed my water wrong.
Okay, well.
How embarrassing is that?
Oh, that's all right.
The human experience.
Listen, this is live. We just roll with it. So anyhow, so so I had to get a hold of Diego. Again, here we were having Ayanna Van Zandt on the first time on our network, and I didn't have any power. So luckily that we were able to get everyone on the same page. Diego came in, and again, that was just he's
a lifesaver.
An outstanding show. Yeah, Diego Reyes is one of the people that really just, again, they're one of the reasons that we're even here. All the wonderful promos, all the producing that he does. Again, and the reason we do it is because, again, that we all love this teaching and we want to share it with the world.
I think that's the important thing for all of us. I think if a person is going into ministry, their entire being must be to serve. And like right before our show tonight, I was in a board meeting with PWA Toronto, which is an organization that supports people living with HIV. And, we're looking at dismantling anti-Black, anti-Indigenous racism and creating a whole new governance model so that we are reflecting the community and healing. And so for me, this social justice is so important. And right in our board meetings, we have, I begin the meetings, I'm the treasurer of the board, but I
Yes.
begin the meetings with an intention. We can't pray because there's, all kinds of different people in the room. But we start with an intention, which you know how to do spiritual mind treatment. Intention's very easy to do without using words that would be offensive to other religions or people who might be atheist or whatever.
Right.
And then we close with a heart seat. And at
Oh.
the end of the meeting, we bestow blessings on one member of the board. And the gentleman that we honored tonight, when it was all over, the chair said, "So, is there anything you want to say?" And he was like, in tears. He was like, I don't even know what to say after this. Like, he was so deeply moved by it. And I think when we honor each other, when we take the time, yes, business is business and we need to get business done. But the truth is, if we will take the time to connect with each other one-on-one, to share appreciation and gratitude, to remind each other of the important place that they hold in our life and in our experience, we create a world that is working for the highest and best good of all because we're sharing love. I don't really like our vision. I don't think our vision is a vision. But that's my own personal judgment, because the world already is working perfectly for every
Yes.
individual because it's working based on their consciousness.
Yes.
So I look at it as a world that works for the highest and best of humanity. That to me is more of a vision, but that's another rant for another day.
We're talking this evening here on the New Thought Media Network on the Friday Evening Fireside Chat with the host of our Joy Show, which is the Reverend Barbara Schreiner-Trudel. And she's coming to us from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Talk to us about Canada Day to all of the people down here in the States. Many don't realize that you celebrate up in Canada again on July 1st. So tell us a little bit about Canada Day.
Well, Canada Day, I don't know if it was a reaction to July 4th or what it was, because we haven't always done it, but we have been doing it for a number of years now. And it is a day of celebration, a day of rest, a day of acknowledging our country and what it has been, the good and the bad of it, and then what it could be moving forward. For me, I like to imagine a country that is not nice, because nice is a 4-letter word that doesn't have much meaning,
Okay.
but a country that is honest and authentic and integrity, and we're not there. But my hope is that one day, as we begin to dismantle the colonialism and the racism and stuff that is prevalent here, it may not be, or may not seem to be, as big as it is in the US. But I can tell you it is alive and well north of the border. So for me, I want our country to stand in, shoulder to shoulder with all humanity, with women having equal rights to men, that every skin color, religion, every gender, like every person has space that can be honored and respected. And when we look at some of the things that you had mentioned in the news with the government and some of the decisions they're making, which are taking away human dignity.
Yes.
Yes, it's human rights, but it's human dignity. Yes. And when I look at that, I go, well, if I'm practicing this teaching of the science of mind, what I know is that consciousness has created this and consciousness will move it.
Yes.
And so my job is, whenever I see anything like this on the news or whatever, and I do avoid that. I've got more news on your show tonight than I've listened to in months, because I don't watch the news.
Okay.
It filters in. You can't avoid it. You do get the message, but I do not watch it. And the reason I don't is because I don't want my truth colored by the editorialization of the news media, because they're no longer journalists. They're just editorializing all the time. So you don't know what's real and what's created.
Right.
I was trained as a journalist. That was my college education. So I look at what the newscasters are doing today and I just go, yeah, it's not for me. But I do stand for social justice in the way I do is when I hear something like the shootings that happened in Texas, the the women's rights being removed. When I hear those things, that is a prayer request in my
Yes.
mind. And I go into a place of knowing that somehow, some way, this divine power, which is all powerful, begins to move things around the chessboard, so to speak. And we end up with a revolution that transcends. And I look back to Trump coming into power and the energy that that brought. And what it did was it brought to the surface things that were ready to be changed or to
Yes.
move into a new reality. So when I see those things, I just pray highest and best good. I don't put my judgment on it. I mean, I have my feelings. I'm a woman. I have feelings about the Roe versus Wade decision, but that's not my place as a spiritual leader. My place is to hold consciousness. And
Yes.
so for me, it's, there's stories on both sides of the fence, and I get that. And what I want to do is honor all life by having space for everyone to share their experience or their stories without my judging it. And so my prayers are always highest and best good for all of humanity, because I don't know, even when it comes to Putin and Ukraine. And I was looking up because I get a little a little miffed because all of our focus is on Ukraine, but there are wars going on in Ethiopia,
Yes.
Afghanistan, the US-China thing. There's
Yeah.
Iran versus the US and Israel, Yemen, Israel, Palestine, Haiti. We could go on. And so
Yes.
when I look at the focus on one thing, I can't help but go, is that a white slant? And I've
Okay.
become very aware of the racism that is so it's just unconscious in us because we were raised in white families, in white cities, in white homes, in a white culture. And so we just default to that. And I look at the
Yes.
attention Ukraine is getting, and hey, I'm there. I'm praying love for that. I'm praying for Putin's heart to melt into something reasonable. But I'm also praying for the Middle East
Yes.
and the rest of the world, because I'm not going to leave out people of color just because, right? Just
No, I think you have an extremely valid
yeah.
point. I just
I've
think,
pastored 2 Black churches for the last 11 years.
ooh, well, I
So
was raised.
I have a different perception on their life experience as compared to mine.
I
And
was in a African American church for many years until we started something down here in Akron.
yeah,
So I tell my friends I was raised on the Reverend Elvin H. Brown's spiritual hour.
beautiful, beautiful.
Well, go ahead.
You start to discover different things, right?
Yes.
One of the things I like to do is I had recently heard about this thing called the, now that just went out of my head, COVID brain. I have COVID right now, so put your mask on. But this, the human library, and that concept is for a person to sit and tell you their story.
Yes.
30 minutes, no conversation. It's here's my story, and it gets received. And I think if we did more of that, we would come to understand the magnificence of humanity, the diversity, the creativity, the imagination, the love that is present. And last year for Father's Day, instead of doing a Sunday talk, I did a panel discussion, and I invited the fathers in my church to all sit around. Now, there were 6 of them, my husband being the white person in the room, and the rest of them were men, mainly from the Caribbean originally.
Yes.
And so they were sharing their story of raising their children. And wow, what a difference. Like, I don't have to tell my sons, if you get pulled over by the police, make sure your hands are, do not reach for anything. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Make sure you, like, I've never had to do that. And so hearing those stories put a whole new perspective as a mother, as a grandmother, as a great grandmother, to think about my children. The experience is very different than theirs. And so I want to have compassion for both sides. And I want to invite white people to make mistakes and
Yes.
be willing to hear that what you just said caused harm, and to go, wow, thank you. Thank you for
Yes.
telling me that. Like, to be teachable, to open our hearts so we can learn. We can learn how to do it different. I did a service one time, and I'm doing my talk, and all of a sudden I said, I was the black sheep of the family. As soon
Yeah.
as it came out, it's like I wanted to pull it back in, but it's
Okay.
out. And sure enough, after service, one of the members came up to me and
Yes.
said, Reverend, do you really think that was appropriate? And
Yeah.
I said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And she just stopped right there. And,
Yeah.
and because she knew I did not mean harm, but I
Right.
was willing to hear that I'd done harm, and not defend it and not make excuses for it, but to receive it and go, you are absolutely correct. I was wrong.
And that's the reason why we're in community.
Absolutely.
Is because that in community, we learn those kind of things from
Yes.
other people. We have 4 minutes. Could you just kind of tell me here? I talked to Dr. Tony LaMotta here a few weeks ago. She teaches down at the Holmes Institute down in Florida. And I asked her, I said, well, Tony, I said, you work with a lot of our students. How do you see us doing ministry post-COVID? Go ahead.
Ministry is new now. Ministry, we're not going back. That's plain and simple. We have to find new ways. Ministry should not happen just Sunday morning out of habit. It should be a 7-day experience. And so creating opportunity. I have just joined TikTok. I have little positive 1-minute little either prayers or little insights. One of them is, I don't care what they told you. I'm telling you, you are perfect, whole, and complete. Don't forget it. Little things like that. And my daughter, who's 17, her friends are like, they're just right on that. They think it's great. So I've just started. The messages are brief and positive, but that's one way. I do prayers most days, morning and night, 7 a.m., 9 p.m., just to stay connected with my community. I offer classes. When I do offer my accredited classes, I offer them on Saturday mornings. I also, and that would be one set of classes. The other one I would offer on Thursdays, both morning and evening. So people who work during the day can come at night. Those who don't can come during the day. So I am making church happen. And my service is held at 7 p.m. Eastern, Monday night. I'm not doing, well, I tend to speak at Unity churches and stuff as a guest speaker on Sundays, but I'm not doing church on Sunday. We've got habits that we need to break because COVID broke them.
Yes.
And if we're trying to go back, we're going to fail miserably. We have to find a new way forward. So YouTube and Instagram, and I'm just learning this stuff. I'm too old to know all those things, but luckily I have people around me who are younger and wiser and know how they work.
Radio guy here. Okay. I didn't do video before a couple of years ago at all. So
I've been doing Zoom for many years, actually. Ever since it came about, I've been teaching on Zoom. So I was prepared for the pandemic. I knew how to do it.
No, and as I have told colleagues, it's like, like the book, the ministry book, it's been tossed to the shredder. It's all over the backyard now. It's just that what Tony said was this, and I've been thinking about it. She said that something's emerging here and that we really need to deeply listen and to see what is emerging. And again, that part of that has not been again, the whole idea there's been a decrease in brick and mortar. So what do we do now? You know, I mean, it's the whole world now. We have the opportunity to reach the whole world.
You know what? I have members in the Western Canada, throughout Eastern Canada, throughout the United States, and the Caribbean who attend my services on a regular basis, who have even taken out membership. And they're not living anywhere near where I am. But the things that I'm offering and the things that I'm doing are touching lives and making a difference. And I think my vision is a New Thought bridge, that we in New Thought become one. We talk about oneness. It might be a good idea for us to start practicing oneness. And that means unity, UFBL, INTA, AGNT, CSL. Let us bridge those gaps. One isn't better than the other. We're all doing the same thing.
Absolutely.
Let's come together and do it better and really create a world that works for the highest and best good of all of humanity.
Reverend Barbara Schreiner-Trudel from Canada, who is the spiritual leader of the Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake. So good to have you, and so good to have you on our network. Her show is the Joy Show, which is held 3 p.m. Eastern Time here on the New Thought Media Network on Fridays. And also, as she just told you, 7 o'clock Monday night service. It's more of a talk, but yeah.
No, it's a service. It's a service.
Music, so you have music?
Music, meditation, prayers. Yeah, it is a real service. And you have to check one out.
Yeah, I will have to. Well, I've been kind of busy here the past few years.
Really?
With that Holmes Institute type thing. No one realizes, people say, well, I want to be a minister. And I said, well, okay, you have some lessons.
Get ready.
Reverend Barbara, thank you for being with us this evening. Again, you can check out our programs here on the New Thought Media Network. Again, the Joy Show, which is held on Fridays, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 1 o'clock Mountain Time. And also her service, which is on Monday evening, 7 o'clock. Reverend Barbara, come back on sometime soon, okay?
I would love to. All right. You're a joy.
Thank you so very much. Thanks for being on the show this evening. All right. Gosh, time flies when you're having fun. Well, listen, we always remind people here that, again, that we just say thank you for all of your love and support here. It really means a lot when we receive your financial giving here. So if you have not given here, I'd like to give you the opportunity to partner with us in that manner, because it really, really helps. And it's like Barbara was saying, again, we're reaching people around the world. So go to ntmedia.org/donate. And again, we just want to say thank you. All right, time for me to get out of here. On behalf of all of us here, Reverend Robert and Diego and Reverend Barbara, this is Pastor Michael Mangus, and I am wishing you a very pleasant good night.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.